Rob Kendall back again with Tyler Bless, the head coach of the Plainfield Quakers. Coach, how's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Well, not as good as you because the time is here. And
Yeah, let's go.
I always feel like for you guys, this is like the week leading up to Christmas, right? I mean, the anticipation is there. Kind of talk a little bit about the past couple weeks since we've checked in and how things have been going.
Yeah, I think the last time we spoke, we were getting ready to start our fall camp, and that would have been, that first probably full week of August. But yeah, school started on August 5th for teachers. Kids came on that Wednesday, the 7th. The IHSA kind of the first official practice started at Monday. You go in helmets, and then you go pro pads a couple of days, and then you can, get into full pads. So we did that all of the first week of school. Had our red-white scrimmage Saturday evening, the 10th, and that went really well. It was just obviously us practicing each other, but kind of splitting it down the middle of offense versus defense, and then getting our freshman team a couple reps, kind of the halftime entertainment. And then this past week, we were in our full week of school, and we had the opportunity to go against Tri-West at home Friday evening for the IHSA scrimmage, and that went really well, and we were able to come out healthy and felt like we're moving in the right direction. Now we're getting ready for week one in the Terre Haute South Braves.
Well, let's talk a little bit about those scrimmages. What do you get from those scrimmages? What do you look for? What do you like to see, not only against yourself, but obviously against another team?
Yeah, I think that the first one we have, or our red-white scrimmage. That's just us going against each other. So we're still probably fine tuning some stuff on some personnel. We're not hiding anything in terms of offense or defensive schemes. Still trying to just get better each practice, and it was just an opportunity for our kids to play in front of fans and parents and have people in the stadium. So that was good. And then the Tri-West scrimmage this past Friday. I kind of maybe explain it like it's a preseason game, in the NFL, where you're not probably going to show everything that you could do, but you want to kind of get in, get out, stay healthy, be efficient, execute your offense, execute your defense, and go home, please. So both are very different and unique in their own way, but I think our kids handled them both very well, and I was pleased with where we're going right now.
Let's thank our sponsors that are making our broadcast possible this year, both the Coaches Show and the broadcasts on Friday night. Don't forget, you can hear the game live Friday night on Audio Sports Online, and you can listen to all the play-by-play action. Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Goodell Financial, Crone Family Construction, My IT Indy, Ryan Grimes, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, BGW Construction, LLC, Legacy Motorsports, Crest Point Real Estate, Chris Pearson, Selwith Jones, the Stewart Home Group, and Ellis and Associates. And I know, Coach, we mention this every year, but man, what a great group of sponsors that step up to make Plainfield football possible, both not only what we do, but obviously just the day-to-day operations of Plainfield football.
Yeah, I mean, we're super fortunate, super blessed. We've got a great community that supports our football program, but they also support all of our athletic programs here at the high school. Very, very happy where the direction of our quarterback club is going. We've got a lot of great parents that are involved, some in meetings, some behind the scenes. They each kind of have their own rules of, getting things ready for Thursday night meals coming up, to post-game, pre-game snacks, to, golf outing in July. And I mean, there's a whole slew of things that our parents do for our children. So we're very fortunate and blessed to have them and have the support and everything that goes along with Plainfield football.
Well, let's talk about it. It seems like every year, the last numerous years, the injury bug has bitten Plainfield football at some point. How do you start the season? Do you feel like you have your whole group ready to go? Do you feel like you'll start week one with the guys you need to have?
Yeah, I mean, we've been very fortunate. I think a big kudo goes to our strength coach, Randy Vanderbush, for just the work that he does with our football players and our athletes at the high school, of just getting them in the correct shape that they need to be in for their specific sport. We've been hit and miss a couple of times on some injuries, but we're healthy right now, knock on wood, and we're going to continue to work out in APC class and do the things that what requires winning to do, and keep moving forward in the right direction in our strength program.
Now, I know we got into this a little bit during the preseason show, but obviously you were still trying to put people in positions. Talk us through on both sides of the ball some of the kind of the names we're going to be hearing week in and week out. Let's start with the offensive side of things.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I think in our July show, our offensive line is probably our key, most important position on our offense. Those guys are um, a lot of them are returning starters. Tommy Spilker, Matt Lazaro are going into their fourth year starting on the offensive line. Harrison Lehman is a returning starter. He's a junior. He'll be our center. Braden Wachtel is another returning starter. He's probably now a 3-year starter. And we're kind of ironing out that backside tackle position, but we've got a couple guys in mind that are putting themselves in the correct position to have those difficult conversations with our coaching staff. So I'm pleased with the direction our offensive line is going. Feel really good about our tight end room. Brandon Hendry is again a 3-year starter at tight end. He's kind of he does an extremely great job of blocking, but he's also has really good hands and makes kind of some very difficult catches, but always gets upfield and is kind of looking to run somebody over. I always kind of mention he's an old school fullback, like in the early 2000s in a 2024 offense. And then Devin Diamato's a rising sophomore. Cohen Moore is a senior for us. Receivers were a little bit young. Mason Monday is one of our seniors. That's moving along nicely. Ryan Garver, Ethan Ellis, Mason Beers. I mean, there's a couple names there that you'll probably recognize on Friday nights. Our quarterbacks right now are Bryce Savants and Gavin Likens. Both of those young men have been competing for that spot. Both are doing a great job putting themselves in the correct position. So I'm anxious to see how both of them will kind of rise up to the competition as it gets closer to Friday. And then our backfield is really strong with Luke Starnes coming back, as well as Weston Wyrick. So offensively, it's going to be a little bit probably more maybe that old school Plainfield football that you mentioned sometimes in shows of, run it and get out of here and win and go home and be happy. Obviously, I still like to pass the ball and play action and take some shots, but we're trying to play to our strengths and not to our weaknesses and put our kids in the best position to be successful.
Those 2-hour games, they're great as an announcer. You're home by 9:30. So if you could just do that each week, that'd be awesome.
Well, they're fun as a coach when you win too, Rob. I mean, it's not all about you as well.
Let's real quick talk about the quarterback competition. What do you look for when you say, hey, we're gonna have a quarterback competition? How are you judging these players against each other? How are you judging, hey, this person has more progress than the other one? Take us kind of behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the whole entire offseason. It's kind of, in a way worked itself out, but just kind of gone about. Everybody's been pretty clear on like, hey, we're going to put the kid that gives us the best chance to win, but also, the one we trust the most. Both are very different in terms of body composition and what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. But I feel like our staff has given them, the correct number of opportunities and reps in terms of practice and scrimmages and, red, white scrimmage, try white scrimmage. So it's been completely on both parties. The kids have been very respectful to each other. It's been very competitive, but not anything, off the field, anything like that. It's just been, I think both kids really want to play, and I don't blame them for that. So it puts us in a tough position coaching staff wise, but at the end of the day, we're going to make the decision that puts us in the best chance to be successful on Friday nights.
Yeah, and from a defensive perspective, which we'll flip over there in just a second, having this sort of offense probably helps them because you're going to get some sustained drives, you're going to get some clock running, you're going to give those guys a chance to rest if they can get off the field.
Yeah, I mean that would be that's ideal there for us to get first downs, bleed some clock, keep our defense off the field, keep them rested and ready to go. But to do that, we've got to still manage the game at the quarterback position, whether it's handing the ball off or executing some quick games, some play action, some screens. We're going to try to do that methodically in what we call and what personnels we want on the field. But I do think both young men have really put themselves in a great position to make it hard for our coaching staff to make that decision. So I've been very pleased on how mature both of those quarterbacks have been just throughout the entire process, and asking questions on where they could get better at, what needs to be done, and things to, again, put them in a chance to be successful on Friday nights.
All right, well, let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. You mentioned the offensive line and some experience you've got coming back there. You got some dudes on the defensive side of things too up front.
Yeah, our offensive line is excited to see our defensive line, maybe beat the crap out of somebody else here coming up soon. So, Thomas Strange is our nose. He's a very great young man, but he's also very strong. He broke the bench press record this past spring. Blue Jedawa is a returning starter, has had a phenomenal summer as well. Jacob Lackey is healthy and ready to go. Those three are seniors for us. And then, guys like Drew White, Jordan Robertson, our guys are going to be subbed in at defensive line that have also had a really good summer of just, getting better at each practice. Our inside linebackers, Alex Holtzclaw's back. He's a returning starter. He's one of our captains again this year. Jake Dellinger, Mason Mantooth, Elliot Eck are new names that you probably have to get used to. And then on the outside, it's, Jack Aldridge, Tyler Simic, Jordan Meyer. Those guys have all had really good summers of competing for those spots. And I've been very pleased with how well they've just responded to the coaching and obviously what they're putting on the field. In the back end,
real quick, Coach, what is the bench press record? I feel like I could get the bar up. What is the bench press record? It's more than the bar.
I think I could be dead wrong here because I'm not close to it. I think it's 435.
Wow.
I have to check that, and I'll maybe report back to you next week. But
yeah, that's impressive for
obviously off of his name. But yeah, it was pretty remarkable to watch that just happen, and like how easy it was, and just how much weight it was. So I think it's 435 or 430. It was nowhere near my personal best or yours.
No, definitely not mine. All 155 pounds of me.
Right.
Let's talk about that real quick, though, because obviously I talked with your dad for years when he was the Avon coach about this, about how impressive in the last 20 years strength has gotten for these players. And before we get to the back end of the defense, just up front, these guys are dudes in high school now.
Yeah, I kind of go back to be like, well, what did I look like when I was in high school? And it's not what these kids look like now. And I don't know if that's just the generation, the technology, everything that, has happened in the last, 20, 25 years. But, I was talking to Coach Vanderbush yesterday. We had our kids come in for a Saturday morning workout, and, we do it totally different than we did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we were bench press. We were squatting after a Friday night game on a Saturday morning and running a mild timed run. So like things have changed, but I think a lot of that is the technology, the 12-month, kind of program that kids do. I think obviously the multi-sport athlete is really a person that is probably in the best shape of their life because they're building some muscle, but they're also competing. They're burning calories. It's, you look at some of our athletes that don't play football, and then they, look just as good as our football players. So it's different than it was, and I don't really have a pinpoint answer on it, but it's one of those things that it's kind of quite impressive on how well our student athletes train and what we have them do on a 12-month cycle.
Well, I did student newspaper, no physical exertion, no times, no testing, no nothing. Just pen and paper. All right. Back into the defense, Coach. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're all right. Back end, Brady Sabance and Carson Cole are two senior returning players that again have had a really good summer. Both have been very communicative on the formation the offense has given us on who's eligible and who's not, and what to check to. Tayshawn Callahan, Grayson Harden, Ty White, Cohen Vanderbush all those, 6 names have kind of been rotating in at safety and corner. We're blessed that, a couple of those players can go from safety to corner or from corner to safety if we need to rotate guys in. So a little bit of old guys, a little bit of young guys, a little bit of mix of both. So I think that's good for, just some good friendly competition, but our kids have handled it very well. And I've been very pleased with their efforts on the defensive end overall.
All right, let's thank our sponsors once again who make Plainfield football possible. Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, Cannell Financial, Crone Family Construction, My IT Indy, Ryan Grimes, Yosemite Wrecker Service and Garage, BGW Construction LLC, Legacy Motorsports, Crest Point Real Estate, Chris Pearson, Selwood Jones, the Stewart Home Group, and Ellis and Associates. All right, so let's talk about week 1, Coach. We'll be at home. It'll be Terre Haute South. What does Terre Haute South bring to the table?
Yeah, kind of a common opponent. We played them last year at their place week 1. We get them here at home. They had a nice little run last year towards the end of the season. They were able to make it to the sectional championship game. I believe they got beat by Whiteland, but again, had a nice finish to their season. They bring back their quarterback, Brady Wilson, and they bring back their tight end, linebacker Chris Herron, who's the head coach's son. And both of those young men are really good football players. I believe they have some opportunities here in college football in the future. So we'll have our hands full on defense of, stopping that combo. But up front on defense, they've got some size on the D line, and they've got some athletes in the back end. So we're going to have to be able to, like we kind of want to every week, be able to run the ball. But also, set up our play action and take our chances with our kids on the receiver group. So I think it's always an interesting week 1 because every team in Indiana is 0-0 right now. Everyone's excited. Everyone's thinking they've have a chance to be successful in all their games, and we're no different. I try not to put a whole lot of stock into our opponents in terms of. Yes, they deserve focus. They deserve attention, but I try to tell our kids, like, hey, I don't teach at Terre Haute South. I don't coach at Terre Haute South. I don't tell them how to practice. I'm focused on, the 85 young men in our program on what we can do Monday through really Friday at 7 to get ready to play a football game. So I know they'll be ready to go. I'm sure they're excited to start their season off as well. They're a well-coached team. Coach Aaron's been there for a handful of years and has done a tremendous job. So looking forward to the opportunity to honestly just get the whole thing started and be able to, play against some other teams that we're familiar with. But obviously each year is different, and you got a new group of kids for every team. So very – very excited to go against them. We're changing it up this year. It's week 1 is our senior night, so it's home opener. It's the season opener, and it's going to be senior night for 24 of our Plainfield football players.
Do I want to know why we did that? Is it just something for fun?
Sure. No, we changed it up. Just parents, myself, athletic director. We get it in a fall break. Falls usually on one of our senior nights every other year. So when we had senior night a couple years ago, it was on fall break. It wasn't overly well attended by student body or fans because they're usually on vacation. So maybe a trial run. It could fall flat on our face, and we all don't look very smart. But I'm excited about it because it kind of kickstarts our seniors off on, hey, senior night's important to every football program in the state of Indiana. But when you get it week 1, it just kind of adds it a little bit more, makes it a little bit more special. So I'm looking forward to honoring our senior class this upcoming Friday.
All right, Coach, we'll get you out of here with this. We do this every week on the Coaches Show. Obviously there's so many people behind the scenes that make Plainfield football possible. We mentioned some of them with the sponsors, obviously, this week. But we always ask you, hey, can you pick out a person or a group of people that don't get a lot of credit but really deserve it? Coach, the floor is yours.
Yeah, we could probably do this every week, and I could really probably say the same thing. But There's two groups in mind. One's our young men in our football program. There's about 85 sophomores through seniors, and we're roughly about 30 freshmen. So we're talking about over 100 kids. Um, I think our student enrollment is 1,885. So I tell our kids almost weekly, like, there's 115 or so young men in our program that are choosing to do something that you know a lot of the student body is not, and that's to do hard things, to show up to practice, to put on gear that's heavy and hot when you go outside and you're trying to move another body or run past another body or tackle somebody. Like, what football requires is still hard things. You still have to block, you still have to tackle, you still have to catch and do all those things. So I have a ton of respect and love for our football players because of what we ask them to do on a 12-month cycle. I mean, we go at this thing the Monday of after Thanksgiving, and really we want to be playing on Thanksgiving weekend. So if you look at it in that lens, that's 12 months where they're in the weight room training, they're on the practice field in spring ball, they're doing summer stuff, they're running the Hummel Hill. Our parents are involved every month of the year. So um, football players is one, and then our coaching staff is a second. Very blessed to have a great coaching staff again this year. Um, those guys go at it again 12 months out of the year. Some of them teach here at school, some of them teach at the middle school, some of them are lay coaches, but they show up and they give their best for the students and um, for our chance to be successful every year. And I feel like every Friday night we have a chance to go 1-0 because of the work that our players put in from Monday to Monday, and from what our coaching staff puts in from really, essentially Monday to Monday. So players and coaches to start off this year are the people that I would like to shout out to.
All right. Well, just a reminder, we'll have the play-by-play Friday night. We'll be out there. Broadcast game starts at 7, so we'll be starting about 6:45-ish, and we'll have the pregame show and then all the play-by-play action on Audio Sports Online. So, Coach, let's get a big win week 1. We'll look forward to calling the ball game on Friday night, and then we'll talk to you again coming up next week.
Okay, sounds great. Have a good week.